Hey friend, have you ever wondered how to give great oral sex? Well, if you've ever been curious about that, stay tuned because that's what we're going to talk about today. This is the Road to Happiness podcast. We're your hosts, Josh and Cassie Spurlock. And on this podcast, we apply the wisdom of the Bible and brain science to all the things in life to help you and us mature into true happiness. Josh is a sex therapist with over 10,000 clinical hours, and we're sex educators. So we have lots of things to talk about this, and we're excited to have you with us today. We want to thank our sponsor, My Counselor Online. We all need help navigating some of the things in life from time to time we have. So just want to let you know that if you do need help, My Counselor Online and its therapist will take great care of you. So we've been going through the different chapters of our new book, Feeling Sexy. And today we're going to talk about chapter 15, which we have cheekily titled Tongues of Fire.
I think it's the most comprehensive chapter or writing resource on oral sex ever written from a Christian perspective. You know, if anybody's found something else that's really fantastic out there, would love for you to leave it in the comments because just would always like to
always love
learn
the
resources. But
yes.
As a sex therapist, I've read a lot of the resources out there, and certainly all the major ones that are industry staples. And a lot of resources, Christian resources anyways, tend to be very high level.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of, they may say some basic theology around like oral sex, like, hey, it's not a sin, which might be news to some of you that are listening to this, but there's nothing in the Bible that would suggest that oral sex is sinful or outside of God's design. They might even cue in that the Song of Songs in the Bible, is pretty explicit, it's allegoric, use metaphorical language.
They didn't use anatomical terms.
In English anatomical terms, that wasn't the language of the day, but it's pretty explicit about oral sex, and so they might communicate that, but they generally end it there at it's okay to do, which is great to know and important. But what do I do with my hands?
Right, like leave some important information missing and don't want you to have to stumble through all of the navigating of that by yourself.
Googling it can get real interesting.
Oh my gosh, no.
I don't know if I'd
I had this funny thought of like, even a blind squirrel finds a nut from time to time, but I thought that...
It's a little cheeky. Yeah. And, in giving and receiving oral sex.
Yeah.
Right? Like this, it's one thing to have a guide on how to give good oral sex.
Yeah. As a woman to her husband.
To her husband. But man, I don't think there's anything out there on how to receive oral sex.
It can feel so incredibly vulnerable.
Oh, it's so vulnerable.
Yes. So, So that's why we wrote this for you.
So we put this together for you because we want you to be able to feel sexually confident. That's the subheading on the book, A Christian Woman's Guide to Sexual Confidence and Desire. And sexual confidence fuels sexual desire.
For sure.
That it's hard to feel desire for things that we feel insecure around. Yes. And so as we grow in sexual confidence, it actually fuels our desire also. And so this is a real confidence building chapter. It's really talking about the common emotional things that come up that become blocks around giving, around receiving. Really helps to get into the conversation with their spouse.
Right? Like, how do you bring this up? What do you say? How do you frame it? What motives do you give it? What are your expectations? We just talk through all those pieces because if you have never been given those tools to have those conversations can feel almost impossible. So we want to equip you with those tools so that you can authentically have a conversation with your spouse, because it's a good thing to explore new things together.
So let's dive in. We're not going to go, spoiler alert, we're not going to go step by step on the how-tos for oral sex.
The chapter is dense. Like, if you want the step by step, it's a significant portion of this book.
Yeah, it's pretty explicit in the chapter, step by step.
All the anatomical terms.
How to engage.
All the things.
On different ways of engaging. So it's all in pretty explicit detail.
Yeah, trying to equip you.
But what I want to talk about here is about the reality that we weren't born amazing lovers.
Yeah, right. We like to tell couples in premarital, like, this should be the worst sex you have in your life, your first sex with your spouse.
Yeah. So there's a shame piece that we can have, multiple layers of shame.
Oh, yeah.
That the enemy likes to use to kind of screw up our sex life. First is just distortion around the scriptures, like we talked about earlier, that somehow engaging sexually, it's like God turns his head and looks away when we engage sex, which is like the opposite of the truth. Not to be creepy, but God celebrates when you connect sexually with your spouse.
He's like, I gave you this special gift for the two of you to have together, and you're enjoying it. I love that.
Yeah, wired your nervous system for, really passionate, fun, erotic sex. And the very first command that he gave humans was go have sex. Like, you probably didn't hear it translated that way in your Sunday school class, but go forth and multiply is the first command given to humans. And there's only one way for humans to do that, and that's engaging in sex. So the first command was go make love, go have sex. So the idea that God is somehow like uneasy or uncomfortable with
like it's a necessary evil of some sort.
Yeah, just isn't grounded in the scripture. So we want to neutralize all of that shame and right out of the gate.
We want to get curious if the idea of that makes us really uncomfortable, that God's not uncomfortable, then there's something there for us that we should get curious about.
Yeah, something in our story, because we didn't come from the womb feeling shame around sex. Like, if we have angst, if we have fear, if we have hesitancy, if we have shame, something happened in our story, or multiple things happened in our story to put that in our heart. So it's something that God wants to restore, redeem, and kind of transform so that we can really enjoy the good gift that he has for us. But once we kind of have that understanding theologically, then there's these other kinds of cultural messages or just misbeliefs, like somehow it should just be natural and easy.
Yeah.
And that if it's awkward for you, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, because you should just know what to do, even though you've never done it before. Unlike everything else in your life that you have to learn gradually and practice. Not this. You should just automatically know and be a rock star.
Yeah, just out of the gate, you're going to crush it. It's just not realistic. That's a lot of, it's dumb.
Trickery.
Yeah,
is what
it's a lot of kind of shame-oriented cultural messages and just our own stuff and how we get up in our head. That perfectionism, we kind of think that we're supposed to be good, and we're afraid to embarrass our spouse with our spouse.
Yeah.
What if we try and it's not good? Well, here's permission. It's not going to be good.
Yeah, right. Expect it to be pretty bad the first lots of times.
It's okay. That part of a really healthy sex life is developing safety in the relationship, to be curious and to try stuff together.
And you really only develop that safety by trying and neutralizing the shame that you might have felt when you failed.
Yeah, and having conversations with your spouse about it.
Yep.
Rather that's, hey, I want to explore this together.
Yes.
I want to try giving oral sex. I want to try giving head. Or I want to try receiving that. I enjoy giving. I want to explore receiving.
Yeah.
Those are super vulnerable conversations to have, but when we have them, it brings us emotionally closer in our relationship. Yeah. It builds trust in the relationship. And that's really where really strong, healthy sex lives are built on, is in that space.
Yeah. And even now, when we have conversations about new things we want to try, it's still vulnerable. Yeah. Like, you come to expect the safety, you know there's going to be safety, but there's still this little piece that's like, oh, I don't want to say this.
The sexual part of our life and experience is so vulnerable.
Yeah, so intimate.
It just is by its design and its nature. And so, there is no courage without vulnerability. It's a great Brene Brown quote, right? That it requires courage to lean into things that are vulnerable, and it requires leaning into things that are vulnerable for really beautiful connection to take place.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way around that. And that's totally true when it comes to oral sex also.
Yeah.
So we got to have the conversation with our spouse and frame it in the context of learning together.
Right. Frame it in the context of, we're a team. We like to talk about, this is a new adventure. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes adventures are awesome and they go smooth and we have such fun things to talk about, and, we're patting each other on the back, whatever it is in life.
Or elsewhere.
Sometimes adventures have so many bumps and you stumble on things and you forget things that you should have brought on your adventure. You have problems that you never could have anticipated. And so sometimes as a way of like just normalizing that and neutralizing that, which is like, it's an adventure.
Yeah, we totally want to normalize it, because if you want to have an amazing, vibrant love life that keeps getting better year after year and is super fun and exciting decades into it, like, that journey involves continuously learning, and it involves curiosity, and it involves trial and error, and it involves communication, vulnerable communication that learns one another and develops and evolves over time.
I think one of the funnest things about the way God designed our sex life is, like, it never has to be old hat. It never has to be boring or dull. Now, there are seasons like postpartum and other seasons in life where it's not going to have the same kind of vibrancy, maybe, or like newness, exploring adventures together. Sometimes there are just seasons of just plain nurturing, or just keeping status quo, just using it as like opportunity to connect. But there is such opportunity for it to be so fun and so new and so continually evolving and interesting. And I just think that's a sweet gift from God. And like, it's kind of funny. It doesn't have to cost anything for that to be the case. Like, it doesn't have to cost any money for that to be the case. If you want to throw some money in it, that can get really fun too. But like, it's a hobby that doesn't have to cost money.
And a very fun hobby at that.
Yeah.
Hey, so I want to take and just read, because we don't want to go step by step in all the graphic detail that the book does around the subject. But if you are wanting all the graphic detail and how to dive in, then you should definitely pick up a copy of this out on Amazon. But I just wanted to read through the headings, because I think the headings are fun. And I think they help give you an idea of what to expect. And they also help frame the conversation a little bit. So I'm just going to read through these a little bit. So we've got blowjobs in the Bible, right? Which little expose on Song of Songs.
Yeah, which I think is fun. I love that we list verses and people can go read them and they can get a sense for, like, God has lots of fun ideas that he invites us to.
Yeah. Talk about the joy of giving and just, why is it fun to engage in this way? And what's the neuroscience around kind of connecting sexually, connecting with oral sex.
I think we hear a lot about like, well, he just wants it, but I don't want to do it. Or like it's for the man, it's not for the woman.
Yeah.
But actually, it's for both.
For sure. 100%, right? Building trust and safety, having the conversation, reading the signs, the power of nonverbal communication, super helpful and important and part of the fun as not just the touch, but the full sensory experience that's involved in oral sex. Setting the scene, how to kind of set the stage and the space, all the practical things.
Yeah, I think about that in relationship to like accelerators and brakes.
Yep, totally. Setting the context, hygiene, understanding his body, the anatomy of pleasure, a guided tour.
A guided tour.
Yeah. Can I get, understand what we're working with here, right? All the ins and outs.
The knobs and levers.
The knobs and levers, right? Yep. Science of arousal, what's happening, psychology of pleasure, then into the beginner's guide has the step-by-step positions for comfort and connection, him on his back, edge of the bed, sideline, 69, the warm-up, art of anticipation, start slow and away, over the pants teasing, your breath, rhythm, pressure.
You're giving away too much stuff.
I'm just reading headlines. I'm just reading headlines. And foundational techniques, advanced skills, temperature play, deep throating. And this is all in the giving section too. Like we have not even got into the receiving, overcoming common hurdles.
Yeah, that's really good.
Gag reflex. That,
like really practical things.
Right? Preventing jaw fatigue. Yeah. And then we get into, the ejaculation conversation, spit, swallow, or somewhere else, to swallow or not to swallow. Yeah. And then we have the joy of receiving. So, it's one thing, a lot of times when we think about oral sex, we're thinking about like the how-tos of a wife giving oral sex to her husband. But, how do you broach the conversation and engage and really set yourself up and your spouse up for success in exploring receiving oral sex?
Yeah.
Like this is a chapter that's super helpful for the ladies, but are also super helpful for their husband.
Totally.
Right? Who want to pleasure their wives, want to know how to engage in a way that feels good and is welcome and invited, enjoyable for their spouse, but they just don't know how. And the locker room isn't going to teach you. And who knows what you find in Google.
Oh my gosh. And I think too, if you have like a time frame where you've been like, absolutely not, this is never a thing, you sometimes have to overcome some yucky feelings about why you felt that way and how that affected your spouse, because all our decisions do have an effect on each other, and there can be sadness and grief or shame in those pieces. And so it is really vulnerable.
Yep. Golden rules for talking about sex, navigating vulnerability and building confidence, normalizing your anatomy, right?
Yeah.
You got to know your own parts.
Right? Got to know your
give
parts.
a guided tour to your spouse.
Hand
and help
mirror.
lead them.
That's the beginning.
It's going to be a part of it. Understanding your right to receive pleasure.
Yeah, I love that part. And I think it's so incredibly valuable because often as women, we spend so much, like we're just wired for nurture. And so we're looking for people to nurture. We're nurturing our spouse. If we have kids, we're nurturing our kids. We're nurturing our coworkers. We're nurturing the people in our life. But it can feel so strange to just take in that nurture for ourselves, and not even just to take it in, but like to declare, proclaim, stand on, I actually want that for no other reason than I like it. And that's actually good. Like, there is a misunderstanding that something that's just for us is selfish or sinful, when actually God wired us for that to be delightful to us. And so we can really rejoice and lean into that. Even through the vulnerability, we can understand, like our left brain can understand, this is a good thing. God wired this for me. And we can take the steps to allow our right brain to experience that and have that interaction with our spouse so that we can create that safety together.
Yeah. And if you find yourself having difficulty believing that or accepting that, I'm going to offer some nerdy neurotheology around it and say, consider the clitoris, right?
Consider the clitoris, my brethren.
Consider the clitoris, my brothers and sisters. And the clitoris has more nerve endings than any part of human anatomy, any other part of human anatomy, male or female. So like 10,000 nerve endings. And it serves only one purpose. That's for you as a woman, your sexual pleasure. The clitoris does nothing for man. Stimulating the clitoris, other than a man's enjoyment of his wife's enjoyment of her body and being stimulated, it doesn't serve any functional purpose beyond that. It's not involved in procreation. It's not involved in urinating. It's not involved in anything other than exclusively your pleasure. And that was Jesus's design. Like, Jesus came up with that idea and wired your anatomy in this way. And so it tells us something about his heart as it comes to your pleasure, that he cares about your pleasure, that's valuable to him. So much so that he would design this intricate part of your body in order to facilitate you thoroughly enjoying yourself sexually. And so it is Jesus's desire that you would experience a lot of pleasure sexually. And that'd be something that you really enjoy, and that you look forward to, and that you want for your own sake. Let me say that again. For your own sake.
Yes.
For your own sake. Like it's something you share with your spouse, and the more good it is for you, the more good it is for him. But the point is that it's not something given to you just for him.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's something given to you for you.
And he gets to participate.
And
Yay.
he gets to participate and enjoy along the way. So, the right to receive pleasure. Your personal pleasure map. That's right. Got to get familiar with all the things. If you're going to give your husband a guided tour of the
hand mirror comes in.
That's right.
The hand mirror, and also self-exploration, because you can't share what you don't know about.
Yeah, I love the really practical sections on the conversation. Like we know having these conversations are hard.
So
like
difficult.
That's a lot of the feedback that I get as a sex therapist. Working with like, oh, how do we even talk about this? And when you're in sex therapy, the therapist helps facilitate those conversations.
Right. They give you some language.
Yeah, so we wanted to take and put some of that into the book to help equip you to be like, how do I even start this conversation? How do I talk through it? And really set you up for success in having that conversation.
We often talk about the things that trip us up, our wounds and gaps, and not knowing how to have this conversation. Like, you may pick up some skills for this conversation from other venues in life, because all the conversational skills we learn are transferable among relationships and among different disciplines and different things that we're strategizing. But there's something uniquely intimate and vulnerable about talking about this. So we just wanted to take away that gap as much as we could and provide you some language to give you some confidence, make it your own. But yeah.
Yeah, there's actually two sections on communication in the receiving oral sex section.
Yeah.
One is on just like how to bring up the conversation that this is something that you want to explore more. And then there's a whole nother section on coaching. Like, how do I provide feedback and direction in a way that doesn't feel offensive or doesn't create resistance or doesn't kind of hurt my spouse's ego or hurt their feelings in some way or feel judgmental or critical. All
because
those kinds
for
of fears.
them to engage is vulnerable too.
Super vulnerable.
And so we're all working really intentionally. It's not going to be perfect. Don't stress. Don't fret. Like that. Don't hear that. Like you need to say these things just this way so that you can make sure to make your spouse feel a certain way. That's not it. Your spouse is responsible for their own feelings. But you can do some things. You can phrase things some way. You can use your tone of voice, your body posturing in some ways that help them be able to lean into the vulnerability, the challenging things that they're nervous about a little bit easier.
Yeah, there's, it's super vulnerable to receive, but it's also super vulnerable for your husband to give as well. No matter how much they may, try to play that off or pretend for that not to be the case.
For sure.
But it's super, super vulnerable. Like no guy wants to be a bad lover. Like that's like one of their greatest fears as a man and as a husband, that you'd be a lousy lover.
Yeah.
In them. And so there's vulnerability in engaging. And guys tend to fall into two ditches when it comes to engaging. Either on the one hand, they try to overcompensate and play as being super confident, which is terrible because they're not great lovers are learners, right? Great lovers are learners in the bedroom because every woman is unique and a woman's sexual experience changes day to day and minute to minute within an experience. And so it's impossible to be an expert on your wife's sexual response. You just can't be. Like women are learning, they have to lean into learning their own bodies.
Right.
Because their own bodies shift and change. And so the way amazing sex happens, and amazing pleasure for a woman happens, is in learning to attune to your own body and learning how to then communicate about your body's response verbally and non-verbally in ways that help guide the experience in a way that presses the accelerators and pursues pleasure and builds that. And so if a man isn't a learner and he thinks he's Don Juan and knows how to like bring perfect pleasure to his spouse, then instead of listening and attuning, he just kind of bulldozes through in a way that is not optimal, does not create a great experience. That's one ditch, the overcompensating ditch. So when guys overcompensate for their insecurities or their fears around being a lousy lover, that then can find themselves in this portraying an overly confident
In order to protect those vulnerable parts, they put up a barrier, but that doesn't allow that intimate connection.
Yeah, and they tend to pursue some really dumb things.
Yeah, they don't know that they're like, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they're actually missing.
It's even worse. They don't know what they don't know, but they pursue like trying to cover up their ignorance in ways that actually sabotage their sex life. So they'll like look at porn and be like, oh, I'm going to learn, how technique, or I'll Google, or I'll, follow these blogs or these different things. And they'll try to like, learn technique from really twisted sources that actually sabotage their sex life, but it gives them this false confidence and they kind of come in and it's not good.
Even if you were trying to learn a technique from a reputable, respectful source, you have to, at the end of the day, understand your wife is the one who is the expert on her body. And even she's maybe not an expert on her body. She's a learner too. So
that's really what this book is about.
Yeah.
It's about being a learner with your own body and your
Yeah.
own sexual response, and how to be a good learner of your body and your sexual response in a way that brings confidence and increases desire as you learn and grow in your own sexual response. But then you have the other ditch for guys. In their insecurity, they'll avoid.
Sure.
Right? So you have an overcompensation ditch around the insecurities, and then you have this avoidance ditch where it's like, I'm afraid of being bad at oral sex, so I'm not going to risk pursuing it or engaging it or experimenting and trying it. And so I'm just not going to go there because I'm too afraid that I'll be bad at it, and that'd be crushing to my little ego.
Both those things are so painful for both parties.
Right? Totally. Yeah. And so the section in here on communicating around these things isn't about, overcompensating or kind of over functioning for your husband. It's about teamwork.
Yeah.
That's about how do you be a good teammate with your spouse in a way that helps advocate for your own sexual pleasure, and to communicate about your own experience in a way that sets him up for success and sets you up for success, because we're on the same team, we're exploring and learning together, and we're building our sexual skills and competency as a team and figuring out what works for us. Because there isn't a one-size-fits-all sex life.
And I think that's like one of the most delightful things about marriage in general. We were raised...
Sex or...
No, creating our own experience together, making something that is uniquely ours. Like we grew up in a way learning things like, these are the yeses for men, these are the yeses for women, you fall in these categories, you do these things, and that's how you know if you're successful in marriage. Come to find out, we actually create all those choices for ourselves because God did not designate these specifics for us. Even down to like the littlest things, like how do we do our toothpaste? We create this life together, and our sex life is the same. And that's part of what makes it so delightful and so rich and so beautiful, knowing that it's just ours and that we worked as a team on creating it.
Yeah, the research is really clear, and that what makes for really healthy, vibrant, evolving sex lives over time is not at all what people think. Like we get real practical nuts and bolts on the skills and the tactical components of oral sex in this chapter, but it's not those skills that make a rich and vibrant life. There's 3 things that make for a rich and vibrant life. Ready?
Ready.
Here they are. And that. The first is friendship in the relationship. Right? If we're not good friends in our marriage, then we're not going to have a good sex life.
Oh my gosh.
It's just not.
So many times when noises happen, like body noises, not like noises I meant to make or happened during connecting, but like weird noises, things that squeak when I don't think they should. Like, I often think if we weren't friends, like if we didn't have safety and we couldn't laugh about those things or we couldn't, navigate those things together as buddies, that would be so difficult. Like you would have to shut off part of yourself instead of like bringing that in and letting that be safe and normal.
Yeah, and just the emotional connectedness and emotional safety, that great sex happens in that context. And people get confused around that sometimes because, hooking up or maybe sex before they get married or different things like that had intensity to it.
Yeah.
Because they're in that phase of early relationships where dopamine and adrenaline are kind of the driving factors for connection and create that sexual intensity. But once a relationship stabilizes, that oxytocin takes over as the modulating hormone, and it's no longer this dopamine and adrenaline intensity that's in it. It's about the intimacy and the connection in the relationship. And so if we're not friends, then we're not going to have a great sex life. It's just not going to work. Yeah. It's going to die. And so we've got to attend to the relationship itself, right? First and foremost.
Yeah.
Secondly, the second thing that makes for an amazing sex life is for a couple, for you and your spouse, to decide that sex is important to the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to be intentional about cultivating a sex life and cultivating it year after year and developing it, right? It's an evolving thing.
Yeah.
And so if you don't decide between the two of you that this is a valuable and important part of a relationship, and we don't work together on it, and it doesn't evolve, it doesn't grow, and eventually fizzles and dies. So we've got to have the friendship. We've got to decide that it's important to our relationship and work on it. And third, we have to actually co-create and explore our sex life.
Yeah.
We decide it's important.
We decide, but we don't do anything about it.
Right. This is important, but we don't actually engage. But we decide that it's important, and then we engage with curiosity, and we play, and we explore, and we try things, and we create a sexual relationship that's unique to us and that evolves with time and continues to be fun, playful, and enjoyable, and important part of our life decade after decade, and continues to be great. Those are the three things. If you have those three things, you can have an amazing sex life until your ripe old age and unto death. Then nothing else is required for you to have a really amazing sex life. Now, learning some things, playing around, as a part of a great friendship that believes sex is an important part of the relationship, and to learn, to explore, to engage, and inform that process just enriches the dynamic.
Yeah, it helps it continue to be thriving. It can be, we're just wired for novelty. We like novelty. So we want to keep co-creating, keep adventuring together, because that's part of what keeps it fun.
All right, so we're going to talk about beginner's techniques, what to do with your hands, how to give verbal guidance in the moment. Yep. What to do if it tickles or irritates. You
mean beyond
if it's too much tongue, and that if it's too rough or fast, if he's missing the spot. We give you real sample language of how to provide feedback to really help you have that conversation the best you possibly can. There's just so much. So much.
I know you keep turning page after page after page.
So, Feeling Sexy, Chapter 15, Tongues of Fire. I thought it was a cheeky title.
It is a cheeky title.
Yeah, we care about your sex life. We care about it because we believe God cares about it. Right? It's not about us. We care about our own sex life.
Yeah, and we care about you, and we know how fun it is, and we don't want you to miss out on the richness God has for you.
And we know all the challenges of it. We know the challenges of it because of our own navigating the challenges in our sex life, but also with 13,000 hours of experience in therapy, helping hundreds of couples navigate the challenges that they face, and knowing the research from hundreds of thousands of couples that have participated in sex therapy research over the decades, and what we have learned, all of that information can help us enjoy this gift that God has given us to its fullest extent. And that's really our heart. We believe it's God's heart, what He wants for you. And so we get to be a part of that in your journey, your story, and just sharing this information so it can be helpful to you. So
we're like ambassadors of that information.
Yeah. Well, Cassie and I are so glad that you hung out with us. It's fun when we learn together. We want to keep learning together. Between now and when we get back together, I want you to know that we pray for you and that we're cheering you on as you mature into true happiness. And we look forward to seeing you back here soon.